The romance genre in anime is very broad. You have your stock standard high school romances, you have workplace romances, you have off-the-wall stuff like vampire coming-of-age romances. And none of these are hard boundaries. Just looking at something like Yuri, you have countless variations on what is nominally a subgenre. Even beyond just strictly defined romances, a lot of the most popular action or adventure-oriented anime have relationship plots that drive huge parts of the story. There is a subgenre to romance anime that I've been workshopping myself recently, and I am calling it quiet romance. This category resides within the larger slice of life genre, where stories and characters reside in realistic worlds and do normal things. Where I want to spin off quiet romance is in the execution of the most impactful moments in these anime. Instead of opting for big music swells and exaggerated visuals for the most romantic moments, quiet romances are all about how subtle and intimate love can be. Dialogue is simple and cut straight to the point of the matter. Often, more is conveyed in what isn't said rather than what is. And characters act the most like real people that you'll see in anime. To offer a great counterpoint, look at Horimiya. Very slice of life, these high school students are dealing with realistic and tangible issues. But a lot of the presentation is defined by these visually striking moments that pull the inner world out into what we see. It's awesome and super effective, it's just serving a different purpose. I want to talk about an anime today that I believe is the epitome of quiet romance, Pseudo Harem. Now, I know many people are turned off just by having the word harem in the title, but I promise that this anime is not what you're expecting, and in fact pokes a lot of fun at some of the stereotypes. Maybe most importantly, this is one of the best seasons of romance anime I've watched. In just 12 episodes, it tells an entire love story from start to end, never feeling rushed or compressed. It also nails this quieter approach to romance, making something that is charming and sweet while still offering up its own thoughts on love and relationships to keep it from just being fluff. So let's break down Pseudo Harem, highlighting what it does right to make such a perfectly compact season of anime, and how it leans on quiet romance to make something that's really special. There's a lot of ways to tackle this show, but I think the best one to start on is its titular gimmick. Eiji, our protagonist, has always dreamed of having a harem of women that he is romantically involved with. Rin, his junior in school, takes to acting like a bunch of different characters to approximate this dream. Now, this is a bit of a strange premise, and one ripe for some weird anime-coded moments. But the show does something really smart to immediately diffuse that tension. They acknowledge that this is weird. Eiji is clearly a bit of a dork, and the show never tries to pretend that he is anything but. His desire for a harem is treated as such by basically everyone but Rin, and it makes it so all of the jokes the show tells about him and his desires land. And the second thing the show does that's really cool, Rin is also a bit dorky, a bit awkward at times. Both of our characters are goofballs, a bit odd, and having them both in on the joke does wonders for their likability and chemistry. Some of my favorite moments in this show are when their harem bit threatens to spill out to anyone else, and one of them rushes to cover it up. Characters that are this self-aware are surprisingly rare in romance anime. It's really cool to see the harem bit fade away as Eiji and Rin grow closer and come to love each other. That comfort around each other making their first connecting thread not as necessary. Even basing a later plot on Rin being uncomfortable letting the bit go really speaks to the depth of what's going on. This anime takes a titular premise and isn't afraid to let it develop and change in 12 episodes, rather than letting it draw out for, multiple seasons and a movie. That's pretty cool. Pseudo Harem is not immune to a lot of the rom-com tropes. AG starts out as clueless as you can get, and misunderstandings or near misses on romantic moments are not uncommon. But crucially, things really move along steadily after the first few episodes. The comedy part of rom-com is a lot more fun when the romance is also allowed to progress, and this anime really gets that balance. On a recent video about You and I Are Polar Opposites, I said that one of the standout parts of that show is how simple love is. Pseudo Harem is in that mold. It doesn't take love too seriously, and that exactly is why so many of its most important moments are so great. On their date to Kyoto, Rin confesses to AG at the bathhouse, and it's a really sweet, culminating moment. We've known that these two love each other for a long time, and the idea that it just sort of spills out after a nap is fitting. Equally sweet is how Rin takes it back. Not because she doesn't want to be with AG, but because she wants the moment to be special. By not having love be this life or death thing, the show can draw this really fine line about how the characters view and value their relationship. The Real Confession is another great example of this. It's a beautiful snowy night, yes, but it's also simply the two of them standing where they first met at school. There's no monologue of Rin's feelings, because they both already know how they feel. It's the silence that speaks here. And at the end of the show, it's revealed that AG reciprocated her confession comically quickly. It's a goofy little moment that's also undeniably sweet, and incredibly befitting of this story. Love is knowing who the other person is, and wanting to support them. It's really as simple as that. There's one last thing we have to talk about, and that's the pacing of this anime. Pseudo Harem tells a small story, but not an unsatisfying one. Our characters' lives change in real ways through the season. Years pass, AG graduates and goes to college, and Rin has to make her own career choices by the end. Each change brings new challenges and dynamics that keeps everything feeling fresh. One of the ways the show manages this is that it keeps the supporting cast very lean. There are only a few notable side characters, and they don't really get their own subplots. The finale, too, does do a lot to wrap things up. In like 5 minutes of screen time, Rin decides to be an actor, but says she'll wait to reunite with AG. Then we get a big time skip to when they do reunite and get married. They don't really explain why they couldn't be together in the interim, or what happened over those years, and that's a bit unsatisfying. But its saving grace is that it all is just to get us to the happy ending. Thematically, seeing AG and Rin here at the end makes sense, so I can overlook some of the unanswered questions. Pseudo Harem is a small story of two high school kids who fall in love. There's ups and downs, big and small moments that happen along the way, but their love is remarkably simple. We get to watch it slowly bloom over the season, and every little romantic moment has a matter-of-factness to it that makes it more heartwarming than dramatic. As a concise package, 12 episodes of anime, I really don't think you can do better. Hey, so this is editing me. I just wanted to pop in and say, I don't think that this show is like a 10 out of 10 objectively when I say that you can't do better. I more just mean, as a package, it's hard to find flaws with it. I don't know. I just didn't want the hyperbole to go too far. It's funny, sweet, and doesn't waste your time. A quiet romance that still manages to reflect on how and why we love those that we do. What's better than that? And that ends today's episode of Love and Anime. I've been wanting to make a video on this show for a while. It's just so watchable. Even just when writing the script for this video, I got sucked into watching like 4 episodes straight before realizing what happened. If you enjoyed the video today and like video essays about romance, anime, and romance anime, Liking and subscribing helps a ton and will keep you in the loop, as does hitting the hype button on the mobile app. I'm Slam Anime, and I'll see you next time.